And for decades before I took office, our country was run by legions of bureaucrats who were always looking for a reason to say no. Why? How can we say no? They wanted to say no. They thought that was their job, and it's really just the opposite. We work to say yes. So now we have a president in the White House who cuts through the red tape and excuses. We don't stand for excuses, and says yes to big ideas and bold initiatives and grand ambitions so that America can have great industries, great dreams, and to be the greatest nation on earth, which is where we are now, actually, in a very short period of time. We're rebuilding things that are incredible. We have the strongest military in the world. We have the best equipment. We have the best manufacturers of equipment. And South Korea is buying a lot of our weapons. We make the best. We have the planes and just about everything other than ships. So we'll be there very shortly with ships, too. But the only reason it's not ships, because, I don't know, for some reason they stopped doing that. I guess they went on to other businesses. But there are some basics in life, and one of the things you need is ships. I always say you need steel, you need aluminum, you need this. There are things you don't need. A lot of things that a country doesn't need them, but things you need steel. Got to have steel, and we're redoing our steel, and some of the people in this room are very involved in that. We're redoing our industry. We're starting to produce large amounts of steel, massive amounts of steel. We'll be right at the top in a very short period of time. The mills are opening again, and they're opening up big. And again, it's national security, and it's because of tariffs. We're reclaiming our heritage as a nation of builders and doers, and we're pioneers in a sense, but we're really doing it again, but we're doing it even better than we did the first time, which is the first couple of 100 years. And we're pursuing this vision with unrelenting drive and really unprecedented success. In July, I proudly sounded law. It was very important. I went into the archives. We looked at every possible thing you could look at, and I signed into law the largest tax cuts in American history. And as you remember, in my first term, we cut taxes from 39% down to 21%. And now we've done even better than that, putting more money in the pockets of American families that make up the largest consumer market on earth for businesses and manufacturers like those in this room. Our tax law includes 100% expensing for all new factories, plants, and equipment. So that means you can write everything off in the first year. So that's like we had in the first, except this goes for a period of 10 years. Whereas the other was over a much shorter period of time. And I actually think that we had such tremendous success. I always said that was the single most important thing, the expensing, the one-year expensing. Upon taking office, I signed executive orders that require that for every one new regulation, 10 old regulations have to be eliminated. I did that in the first term, too, and it worked. So if you want a new regulation, you have to get rid of 10, and already we're exceeding that limit, reaching closer to 30 to 1. Our people have done that, our great secretaries and other people in the administration. So we've been actually at a level where we sign in a new regulation, they get rid of 30 old. We're sort of cleaning up the books because many of these regulations are obsolete, they don't belong. And some were so horrible, they were obsolete, but they really stopped projects from being built, and we're getting rid of all of them. We've pretty much done that. We have streamlined permitting for all new energy and mining projects. It used to take decades for an administration to get something approved, and now it's a process that will take, generally speaking, less than 28 days. In addition, across government, we're guaranteeing a rapid and expedited regulatory review for all new projects in the United States, and that's worth billions and billions of dollars to industry. You spent more money on trying to get something approved than you do in building the plant itself. You know, in Louisiana, my first term, there were 2 plants, and one was financed by a tremendous group of Japanese investors, and it was about $16 billion, LNG plants. Another one was financed by people from South Korea and others. LNG, both have a massive LNG. They were in the review process. One was 15 years, one was 16 or 17 years, and they were then told, forget it, we're not going to get it approved. So I came into government, I heard about it, and I love Louisiana. We did very well there. We did well in just about all the states, but we did really well in Louisiana. And so I got involved. The one plant that was in for almost 15 years, I got it approved in one day. In fact, when we called the people to say that they got approved, they didn't know what the hell we were talking about. They said, "You got it approved." We sort of gave up on it. I said, "No, you don't have to give up. We got it approved." The other one took me a little bit longer. I didn't do as good a job. It took me 1 week. And they got approved and they got built. They're massive plants and they're doing unbelievably. They're like setting records. LNG, big. It's like the Empire State Building lying on its side. And all I know is I looked at it. I said, "What kind of a building is that?" All it's got is pipes going back and forth. I never saw anything like it. But whatever it is, it works. And they've been very, very successful. But think of it, 14 and 15 years. And I got one approved in 1 day and one approved in 1 week, and they've been doing great, and they've been good for the environment. I've shrunk the size of government for the first time.
So President Trump speaking at the Economic Summit of Asia-Pacific leaders and CEOs in South Korea. This is Trump's third and final leg of his diplomatic tour in the region. With this, he's set to meet the South Korean leader in a few hours, followed by his meet with Xi Jinping. And starting with the top headlines this hour, President Donald Trump attends the APEC summit and is all set to meet Lee Jae-myung today before much anticipated talks with Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping. Trump says he expects to meet with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un in the not-so-distant future as he lands in South Korea. Hamas says it is postponing the handover of another hostage body scheduled for Tuesday evening, cites Israeli violations of US-brokered ceasefire deal. Pakistan's information minister says talks aimed at securing long-term truce with Afghanistan